In the late 1960s, as California basked in sunshine, music festivals, and a growing sense of freedom, a darkness quietly crept into the Bay Area. It moved without a name, without a face, and without fear. This darkness would become one of the most haunting figures in American criminal history. He called himself the Zodiac. The story begins in 1968, on quiet, secluded roads near Vallejo. Couples enjoying peaceful evenings suddenly became targets of a mysterious assailant. The attacks were quick, shocking, and seemingly random. At first, investigators searched for an ordinary motive: robbery, jealousy, personal grudges. But none of those explanations fit. Then the letters arrived. In the summer of 1969, 3 major newspapers received nearly identical envelopes, handwritten, threatening, and signed with an unmistakable symbol: a circle with a cross through it. Inside each was a message unlike anything investigators had seen before. The writer claimed responsibility for the recent attacks. He demanded his letters be printed on the front page, or he would strike again. And with each message, he included a cipher: lines of strange symbols, geometric shapes, and coded patterns. He promised that solving them would reveal his identity. Because this killer didn't just commit crimes, he wanted an audience. As newspapers reluctantly published the first cipher, households across the region fell into fear. Couples stopped visiting quiet lookout points. Parents kept their children inside. Police departments from multiple counties suddenly found themselves chasing a phantom, one who taunted them publicly. Only a few days later, a school teacher and his wife cracked the first cipher. But instead of a name, the message revealed something far more disturbing. The killer describing murder as the most thrilling experience, claiming he was collecting souls for the afterlife. With each new attack, the Zodiac's confidence grew bolder. He struck in different locations, at different times, and with different methods, confusing investigators, making it harder to connect evidence. He called the police from payphones. He described details only the killer would know. He even mailed pieces of victims' clothing to prove his identity. Law enforcement formed one of the largest multi-agency investigations in California history. Suspects were interviewed, leads were followed, composite sketches were drawn. But nothing stuck. The Zodiac seemed to exist between the cracks, always close enough to be heard, never close enough to be caught. In one of his most chilling letters, he claimed he had dozens of victims, far more than official cases could confirm. Whether that was true or simply another taunt, no one could be certain. His letters became increasingly erratic, some threatening, some mocking, some almost theatrical. At times, he seemed to enjoy watching investigators trip over false clues he left behind. And then, as suddenly as he emerged, he began to fade. By the mid-1970s, the letters slowed to a trickle. Some were debated as possible hoaxes, others felt authentic. But the violence attributed to the Zodiac practically disappeared. Did he stop? Did he move? Was he imprisoned for another crime? Or did he die without anyone realizing the phantom had finally fallen silent? Decades passed. Technology advanced. DNA and digital forensics transformed criminal investigations. Cold case detectives continued to test old envelopes, stamps, and clothing items for genetic traces, but none conclusively matched any known suspect. Hundreds of people were investigated. A few became famous in the public's imagination. None were proven beyond doubt. The Zodiac remained a ghost, defined only by the letters he wrote, the panic he created, and the symbol he left behind. Today, the mystery of the Zodiac Killer endures as one of America's most puzzling unsolved cases. His ciphers continue to be analyzed by cryptographers, code enthusiasts, and online communities. Some of his messages have been solved only recently, more than 50 years after they were first sent. Others remain unbroken. The Zodiac's legacy is not just the violence he inflicted, but the questions he left behind. How could someone haunt an entire region and disappear without a trace? How many clues sit hidden in his remaining codes? And perhaps the most haunting question of all, is the Zodiac's identity still out there, waiting to be discovered?